WWE Monday Night Raw results, the 2nd of June 2023. Tonight's WWE Raw opens up on the USA Network with the standard intro video. We're now live from the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida as the pyro goes off. Kevin Patrick welcomes us, and he's joined at ringside by Corey Graves. They hype tonight's main event as we see the steel cage hanging high above the ring. The music hits and we go right to the ring as WWE Hall of Famers Edge and Beth Phoenix come out to a pop. They then pose on the entranceway to more pyro as Mike Rome does the introductions. Edge greets fans at ringside and signs a few autographs as Phoenix looks on from the ring. We get a video package with highlights from their feud with the Judgment Day. Edge says it feels damn good to be back, but they're only back for one reason, the Judgment Day. Edge goes on about the Judgment Day and how they're all doing much better than they were 1 year ago, even Dominic Mysterio. Edge says they have battled for the last year, all leading up to Extreme Rules, and he knew then Finn Balor didn't have what it takes physically to make him say he quits, but the minute he saw Rhea Ripley assault his wife, he knew what was happening, and he's not the kind of man who feels helpless. Edge congratulates the Judgment Day and gives them a clap. Fans chant "You still got it." And Edge says he never lost it. Edge says they made a bad problem even worse because he's a cruel, sick, vindictive bastard who will sink to any level to get his pound of flesh. Beth says she's going to cut right to the chase. "If you've got the stones, Ripley and Balor, my husband and I are here to finish this." The music interrupts and out comes Balor, Mysterio, and Damian Priest. Balor notices a pattern. Edge keeps making triumphant returns but the Judgment Day keeps beating him down. Balor says it might be time for Edge to quit. Dominic informs them how he's served hard time and he will use some of his prison tricks on them if they don't back off, just like he did to his deadbeat dad, who didn't even make it into the Royal Rumble match. Fans chant "You suck" at Dominic. Priest talks about how they keep coming back but next time Extreme Rules will look like child's play. Priest talks about his Elimination Chamber qualifier, but calls it Money in the Bank, and says he hates Edge so much he can't talk straight. Priest declares he will become WWE United States Champion again. Dominic wishes Mummy could be here but she's traveling the world promoting WWE. Edge interrupts and insults the Judgment Day, saying Priest is better than just following Balor around like a giant Labrador. He says Balor is a dollar store version of Jamiroquai. It's virtual insanity, kids. Google it. Edge says the biggest difference between you and us is we truly have each other's backs. You all would drop each other quicker than Dominic dropped his pants in the clink. Edge says that's fitting with how many times Dominic has screwed his father, Rey Mysterio, over. Edge can't wait until Rey snaps and 619's Dominic's teeth down his stupid throat. Phoenix doesn't buy Ripley is on a promotional tour, and says it's more likely due to the spear she took at the Rumble. Beth says she didn't come to talk tonight, she came to kick Ripley's ass. Beth proposes a tag match for Elimination Chamber, she and Edge vs Balor and Ripley. Balor asks Dominic if he thinks Ripley is in, and he says yes. Balor accepts the challenge, that is if Beth and Edge actually make it to Elimination Chamber. The Judgment Day drops the mix and surround the ring now, staring Edge and Beth down from the apron. They rush the ring and beat Edge down as Beth goes to the floor. Edge tries to fight back as the music interrupts, and out comes Angelo Dawkins of the Street Profits. Dawkins makes the save and takes out Priest. Edge levels Balor with a spear as Dominic looks on from ringside. Montez Ford comes out and sends Dominic into the ring, where Dawkins, Beth and Edge taunt him. Beth with a big glam slam to Dominic as fans cheer them on. We go to commercial. Men's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Damian Priest vs Angelo Dawkins. Back from the break and Damian Priest is going at it with Angelo Dawkins. The winner will earn a spot in the WWE United States title Elimination Chamber match. We see how Adam Pearce came out during the break and ordered everyone else to the backstage area, so this will be a one-on-one match. Dawkins sends Priest to the floor, then runs and launches him over the announce table with a big pounce. Dawkins brings it back in and leaps, but Priest rock him in midair. Priest unloads and hits a broken arrow for a 2 count. Priest grounds Dawkins with a knee to the back now. Priest with a bell clap for a pin attempt. Priest grounds Dawkins again. Dawkins fights up and out, then connects with big power strikes. Dawkins sends Priest back to the floor. Dawkins stalks Priest at ringside, but Priest intercepts him with a big clothesline. Priest with a slam on the floor, then he breaks the count to boos. Priest runs around the ring, then leaps off the steel steps for a big flying kick. Dawkins goes back down and we go back to commercial. Back from the break and we see how they both collided with clotheslines during the break. Dawkins mounts a fence to a pop now. Dawkins with a flying splash in the corner, then a big kick. Priest misses a clothesline and Dawkins launches him with a big exploder suplex for 2. More back and forth now. Priest with a super kick and an elevated flatliner for a close 2 count in the middle of the ring. Dawkins blocks the South of Heaven chokeslam and hits the silencer for 2. Dawkins goes to the top for the Swanton bomb and he nails it. Priest kicks out and Dawkins can't believe it, and he's a bit frustrated. Dawkins rocks Priest while he's on his knees now. Priest fights back. They trade stiff right hands. Dawkins runs into a jumping spin kick, then a right hand, then South of Heaven for the pin to win and advance to Elimination Chamber. Winner, Damian Priest. After the match, Priest stands tall as the music hits. We go to replays. Priest continues his celebration and it's confirmed that he will join WWE United States Champion Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Bronson Reed, Johnny Gargano, and either Elias or Montez Ford, inside the chamber. We see WWE United States Champion Austin Theory arriving to the venue in his black Lamborghini earlier today. Still to come, a look at Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Adam Pearce is signing Maximum Male models to contracts, Maxine Dupree, Ma.Say and Ma Ring N.Saw. Pearce has heard Dupree has big plans for Mace and Mansoor, and she says she has big plans for them. Chelsea Green walks in and asks if Pearce is the manager. He turns back around and excuses Dupree, Mace and Mansoor. Pearce asks Green if they just did this last week. She says she asked for fresh spring water and Swiss chocolate. Pearce says he had this delivered to her. Green says it was Belgium chocolate, not Swiss, and she'd know the difference because she's been to Belgium. Green says she wanted to speak to Pearce about how she's not in the women's elimination chamber when she can beat the other entrants. Pearce says with all due respect, she didn't last 5 minutes in the Rumble. Green threatens to call Pearce's manager. Green says she family in attendance tonight, and she deserves a match, and she should be presented like the big star she is. Green says Pearce needs to make this right or one phone call and she will cost him his job. Green walks off. We see what happened between Sami Zayn and undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns on SmackDown to set up their match at Elimination Chamber. Baron Corbin vs Dexter Lumis. We go back to the ring and out comes Baron Corbin with WWE Hall of Famer JBL. Back to commercial. Back from the break and out comes Dexter Lumis with Johnny Gargano. We see what happened last week with Corbin, Gargano, Lumis and JBL. Corbin decks Lumis and drops him before the bell to boos. The bell rings and Corbin smashes Lumis in the corner to put him down, then grounds him. Lumis fights up and out but Corbin drops him and delivers elbow strikes. Corbin grounds Lumis again. Lumis fights back but Corbin works him over in the corner. Corbin whips Lumis hard in the opposite corner and he goes down. Corbin covers for 2. A frustrated Corbin yells out at Gargano, then grounds Loomis once again by his neck. Loomis mounts a fence now, unloading on Corbin. Loomis smashes Corbin in the corner, then hits the Bulldog. Loomis with a back suplex, a kip up and the big leg drop as JBL looks on. Corbin fights back with elbows in the corner, but misses a corner splash. Loomis drops Corbin with the side slam in the middle of the ring for the pin to win out of nowhere. Winner, Dexter Loomis. After the match, Loomis stands tall with Gargano as the music hits. JBL looks very disappointed and this loss may be bad for Corbin's future with the wrestling god. We see how the Becky Lynch vs Bayley steel cage match didn't happen 2 weeks ago, and how Lynch and Bayley agreed to make the match last week. Lynch is backstage with Byron Saxton now. She talks about starting all this in Orlando. She recalls how a young Bayley was sweet and just wanted to be great, attaching herself to any rocket for success. Lynch also wanted to be great back then, but she kicked down doors and took names to become the man of this industry. Bayley hasn't liked that, so she attacked Lynch and separated her shoulder. Lynch will teach Bayley to never talk about her family again. But all that aside, Lynch had a game plan and tonight she gets the steel cage match she wanted. Lynch tells Bayley to bring her little friends and tricks tonight because Lynch has one hand she still hasn't played yet and tonight might be the night she plays it. Lynch walks off and we go to commercial. Back from the break and we see the WrestleMania 21 Braveheart promo with WWE Hall of Famers Triple H and Ric Flair. The announcers plug WrestleMania 39. We go back to the ring and out comes Brock Lesnar as the pyro goes off. Lesnar is all smiles as he marches to the ring. Lesnar thanks everyone and says he appreciates them. He asks if we saw the Royal Rumble. Lesnar says he also saw it and it sucked, for him at least. He got his ass thrown over the top rope, but that's not the worst of it. He got tossed out by Bobby who? Bobby Lashley. Lesnar apologizes for not being here last week, but he had to get his head together. He says Lashley finally struck a chord with Lesnar. All last week he couldn't stop thinking about Lashley, even when hunting. The next day he wanted to go ice fishing, but all he could think about was Bobby who. He sat down for a big steak dinner, but all he could think of was Bobby Lashley, even when he crawled in bed at night with his wife. But about 4 or 5 hours later, fans pop. All he could think of was Lashley, so he came up with a resolution, a violent resolution but still a resolution. Lesnar says in his $5 denim jacket is a multi-million-dollar contract. It states Lashley vs Lesnar will take place at WWE Elimination Chamber. Fans pop. Lesnar says if Lashley has a set of balls, he will come out and sign this contract. The music hits and out comes Lashley. Lashley enters the ring and takes the mic, saying it's nice of Brock to grace us with his presence. Lashley didn't know Lesnar would be here, but since he is, let's walk down memory lane. Lashley says he pinned Lesnar in their first match. Lesnar won their second match, but Lashley still left him laying unconscious as he left the ring. So the third meeting when we met face to face, at the Royal Rumble, and Lashley tossed Lesnar from the ring with no problem. Lashley says things will be done under his terms now. He's going to take this contract, let his agent and manager look at it, make his lawyer look at it, then he will get back to Brock and take it into consideration. Lesnar is all smiles and laughs. Lashley steps to him and asks if he's surprised Bobby who has won upon you? Lashley puts a finger on Lesnar but then turns and walks away. Lesnar suddenly grabs Lashley and lays him out with the F5. Lesnar places the contract on Lashley and takes the mic but one more time. Chant starts up. Lesnar goes to leave but he stops and delivers the F5 to Lashley one more time. Lesnar's music starts back up and he exits the ring, raising his cowboy hat in the air to a pop. Candice LeRae is backstage when Johnny Gargano and Dexter Loomis walk up. Gargano hypes his wife up for the Elimination Chamber qualifier. They present LeRae with a new drawing from Loomis. LeRae loves it and asks if this is the whole family, But then she notices the other woman on the drawing is Nikki Cross. LeRae then notices Cross watching in the background. LeRae tries to call Cross' name to come back, but Cross laughs and runs away. Women's Elimination Chamber qualifying match: Carmella vs Mia Yim vs Candice LeRae vs Piper Niven. We go back to the ring for the Women's Elimination Chamber qualifier as Carmella comes out for her in-ring return. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Mia Yim is already out, and so is Candice LeRae. The music hits and out next comes Piper Niven, the former Doudrop. The bell rings and Niven runs over LeRae and Yim at once. Carmella has words for Niven, but Niven just screams at her to scare her to the floor. Niven whips LeRae into Yim into the corner, then splashes them both and they go down. Carmella jumps on Niven's back, but she gets slammed to the mat. Niven is the only one standing now. LeRae and Yim attack Niven, then drop her into position for a double drop kick against the ropes, sending Niven to the floor for a pop. LeRae and Yim have a show of respect, then they go at it. LeRae ends up nailing a poison runner, but Carmella runs in to steal the 2 count. Carmella keeps trying for pins on LeRae and Yim, but she has no luck. Niven runs in and splashes all 3 at once, then covers Yim for 2. Niven covers Carmella for 2, then tosses her out of the ring. Niven stands tall, alone in the ring, and yells out to a pop. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Niven manhandles Carmella, then catches LeRae in midair for a slam, but Yim intercepts with a neckbreaker to drop Niven while she's holding LeRae. Carmella and Yim talk trash and trade shots in the middle of the ring now. Yim with defeat for close 2 count, but Niven pulls Carmella to the floor to break the pin up. Niven rolls back in, but Yim unloads with strikes. Niven ducks a kick and hits a headbutt. Niven goes for a powerbomb, but LeRae nails a missile dropkick, then a springboard moonsault, but Yim breaks the pin up. LeRae is surprised at something. Niven catches Yim with a big black hole slam for a close 2 count. LeRae and Niven fight it out now. Niven drops her but misses the splash. LeRae jumps off Niven's back and hits a swanton on her. Carmella rolls LeRae up for 2 out of nowhere. LeRae rocks Carmella with a forearm. Carmella sends LeRae face first into the turnbuckles. Carmella unloads to keep LeRae down in the corner, then stomps away. Carmella moonwalks now, then nails a Bronco Buster to LeRae. Niven follows up with a cannonball to LeRae. Carmella super kicks Niven and stacks Carmella up for the pin to win and advance to Elimination Chamber. Winner, Carmella. After the match, Carmella celebrates as the music hits. It's confirmed that she will join Asuka, Raquel Rodriguez, Natalya, Nikki Cross and Liv Morgan in the Women's Chamber match to determine the WrestleMania 39 challenger to Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair. Baron Corbin and JBL are backstage now. Corbin is ready to go out on the town, but JBL says there is no we now. JBL says he was once must-watch TV, but Corbin is must-change TV. JBL goes on knocking Corbin and says his own Hall of Fame career has lost credibility thanks to Corbin. JBL says Corbin is not a modern-day wrestling god, he's a clown. JBL says Corbin does not belong next to him. Corbin asks where this is coming from, and says he will do better. JBL says you can't polish a turd. JBL walks off and Corbin is sad. We see MVP talking with Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin in the background. Alpha Academy vs Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. We go back to the ring and out comes Alpha Academy, Otis and Chad Gable. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Piper Niven confronts Candice LeRae backstage, shoving her against a stack of production cases. Niven rants about how she should be the one going to WrestleMania 39. Mia Yim shows up and gets in between them, telling Niven to back off. Niven says they are both very lucky, but if they get in her way of the Raw Women's title again, she won't be so forgiving. Niven walks off. We go back to the ring and wrapping up their entrances Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander with MVP. The bell rings and Gable starts off with Alexander. Gable and Alexander trade holds and counters early on. Gable overpowers and catches Alexander in a big German suplex off a backhand spring. Otis comes in but so does Benjamin. They face off and trade big strikes. Otis and Benjamin collide but Benjamin gets free and nails a super kick, then a splash in the corner. Otis catches Benjamin for a power slam. Otis shows off some as Gable poses on the apron, then Otis drops a splash to Benjamin for 2. Otis whips Benjamin hard into the turnbuckles and he goes down. Otis catches a kick but Benjamin nails an enziguri. More back and forth now. Otis fights from the corner. Alexander and Gable are legal now as they go at it. Alexander with a big drop kick. They run the ropes and Alexander hits the neuralizer on Gable to knock him down. Gable ends up dropping Cedric at ringside with a big exploder suplex right at MVP's feet. Gable brings it back in for a top rope diving headbutt but Benjamin breaks the pin up at 2. Otis attacks Benjamin but Benjamin hits 2 big high knee strikes in the corner. Benjamin with a big Samoan drop to Otis for a pop. Benjamin is sent to the floor. Gable drops Alexander but misses moonsault. They go on until Cedric hits the lumberjack on Gable for the pin to win. Winners, Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. After the match, Benjamin and Alexander celebrate as the music hits. We go to replays. MVP celebrates with Benjamin and Alexander now, and they're all smiles. We see how Rick Boogs returned last week to defeat The Miz. Kathy Kelly is outside of Adam Pearce's office to get Miz's reaction to Boogs' return. Miz says he will be happy to give his reaction to Pearce, along with the bill to the damages to the $10,000 suit his wife bought him. Miz goes on ranting and isn't impressed that Boogs can bench press so much. Boogs come out of Pearce's office and he's playing it cool, just happy to be reunited with the Boogs crew of the WWE Universe. Miz tells him to cut the crap. Miz says he would have won last week if he was dressed properly, and Boogs knows it. He says Boogs is lucky that Pearce is lazy and incompetent. Pearce comes out of his office, behind Miz as he rants. Pearce tells Miz to be careful what he wishes for, and if he wanted a rematch all he had to do was ask. Pearce asks Boogs about the rematch and then books it for next week. Boogs is hyped up as he walks off. Miz walks away and he's not so happy. Chelsea Green walks up to Pearce again. She says he needs to find her an opponent or she will call his manager. We go back to commercial. Chelsea Green vs Asuka. Back from the break and out comes Chelsea Green. She hits the ring and stops to wait on her opponent. The music hits and out comes Asuka to a big pop, with her new look and now Mahage entrance. The bell rings and Green nails a drop kick from behind while Asuka is facing the turnbuckles. Green unloads on Asuka while she's down. We see Liv Morgan, Natalya, and Raquel Rodriguez at ringside now. Carmella is also back out. Green dominates Asuka in the corner, then nails a flatliner, facebuster combo. Green talks some trash to the other superstars at ringside and says she should be in the Elimination Chamber. Nikki Cross crawls from under the ring and she's also out. Green argues with Natalya, then threatens to show Cross what really crazy is. Asuka comes from behind and she's all smiles as Green taunts the others. Green turns around to Asuka unloading on her with strikes. Green is dazed as Asuka nails a German suplex, then a big spinning back fist. Asuka runs into a big kick. They tangle and Asuka drops Green into the Asuka lock for the win. Winner, Asuka. After the match, Asuka stands tall as the music hits and we go to replays while Green tries to recover. The music interrupts and out comes Raw Women's Champion Bianca Belair to the stage. Belair says she wants you all to take a look in the mirror and tell her what you see, because she sees top-tier women of WWE. But who has what it takes to win the Elimination Chamber and go toe-to-toe with the EST of WWE? Belair was in their position last year, so she knows what it takes to win because that's how she got this title. Belair wishes them all good luck because whoever makes it out of the chamber, she will be ready to see them at WrestleMania. Belair raises the title in the air as her music starts back up. Belair heads to the back as the chamber competitors look on. We see Cody Rhodes walking backstage. Back to commercial. Back from the break and out comes Cody Rhodes as the music hits and the pyro goes off. Rhodes poses on the stage to more pyro. Rhodes rushes the ring and poses in the corner to more pyro going off. Rhodes asks what they want to talk about. He says he used his interview time last week to discuss his WrestleMania 39 match against the current opponent, undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns. Fans chant for Sami Zayn and Cody says fans read his mind as he said current opponent for a reason. Cody talks Sami up and mentions the Zayn vs Reigns title match at WWE Elimination Chamber. Fans chant Sami now and Cody says it's looking more and more like he will be challenging Zayn at WrestleMania. Cody mentions being friends with Zayn, then wishes them good luck, and says he hopes the best man wins in Montreal. Paul Heyman interrupts on the mic, then makes his way out. Heyman does his usual intro and asks Rhodes if he may step into the ring. Heyman says one day Rhodes may find out, hopefully not at Heyman's expense, but one day is that life at the top of this industry requires an understanding that the only week busier than the week leading into a major event like the Rumble or WrestleMania, is the week coming out of a major event. Heyman says the tribal chief and himself have had a lot on their plate, and admittedly some things fell through the cracks, but now Heyman and Reigns want to congratulate Cody on his Royal Rumble win. Heyman shakes hands with Rhodes, and says he deserved the win. Fans chant Cody. And you deserve it. Now. Cody says his dad and brother both had nicknames for Heyman but he will just call him Mr. Heyman because he has an immense respect for Heyman, and Heyman knows why. Rhodes goes on and recalls a story from 2000. His family went broke, they had just $100 in a bank account for all of them. His dad was doing commercials for a local car company, and not for money, but so that he could keep his car. Fans chant Dusty. For WWE Hall of Famer Dusty Rhodes now. Rhodes says then Heyman called Dusty, said ECW was in town, and if Dusty would agree to appear on ECW TV, Heyman would pay him and pay him well. Fans chant ECW. Now. Cody says Heyman kept his word. In addition to the money they sorely needed, ECW gave Dusty his confidence back and he can't thank Heyman enough for that. Fans pop. Rhodes says before coming back to WWE he was somewhere else causing trouble, and from one disruptor to another, Heyman showed him the way. Rhodes thanks Heyman again, and fans pop. Thank you Paul. Chant breaks out. Heyman says Cody is good, he really caught Heyman off guard. Heyman came out to schmooze a little business but Cody got him. Personally. Fans cheer as Heyman looks out. Heyman says if we're shooting from the hip, let's do it all the way. Heyman says this isn't about him or Dusty, it's about Cody, everything he's fought for. Heyman talks about Cody fighting for that WrestleMania match but says he's not just doing that, he's trying to take the title from the biggest box office attraction, Roman Reigns. Heyman wonders how Cody will perform under the pressure and says no one ever prepared him for that. Heyman says right down the road is the WWE Performance Center, where Cody's father trained and prepped the biggest stars of this generation. Names like Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Bayley, Kevin Owens, even the tribal chief, but he did not train or prep. Heyman goes on and says maybe Dusty didn't want Cody to go through life as his son, he wanted Cody to go through life as Cody, WrestleMania main eventer who dethroned Reigns, maybe. Heyman goes on and says he can't tell Cody how much he loved his father, and how much Dusty loved Cody, but he can tell Cody this one, personally. Heyman says in his last conversation with Dusty, he said Cody was his favorite son. but Reigns was the son he always wanted. Heyman raises the mic and drops it as fans boo. Cody approaches Heyman, who says he was just being honest. Cody grabs Heyman's hand for a shake and tightens it. Coy says he's just trying to win a wrestling championship, but everyone wants to make it personal, and that's just what Heyman did, but Heyman won't pay for it. His boy Roman will, at WrestleMania, when he takes those titles. Personally. Cody drops the mic and lets go of Heyman's hand as his music starts up. Rhodes exits the ring and looks back at Heyman as we go to a WWE 2K23 commercial. Men's Elimination Chamber qualifying match, Montez Ford vs Elias. Back from the quick break and out comes Montez Ford for the final qualifying match for the Men's Elimination Chamber match. Back to commercial. Back from the break and Elias is out, going at it with Ford to start. WWE United States Champion Austin Theory has joined Patrick and Graves on commentary. Elias grounds Ford with a headlock. Elias with early pin attempts. Ford rolls Elias up for 2 as well. Elias grounds Ford with another headlock takedown. They run the ropes and Ford nails a shoulder, then a drop kick to stun Elias. Ford kicks Elias and charges, but Elias slams him onto the top rope. Elias beats Ford back down in the corner. They go on and Elias nails a backdrop. Ford retreats to the floor to regroup, but Elias follows and stays on him. Elias sends Ford into the barrier, then slams him back first over the steel ring steps. Elias stands tall at ringside as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and Elias slams Ford in the ring. Elias goes to the top, but Ford leaps up and cuts him off. Ford unloads up top, but Elias fights back. Elias goes for the sunset bomb but can't hit it. Ford with a big right hand. Elias puts Ford on his shoulders now for an electric chair, but turns it into a big sit-down powerbomb in the middle of the ring. Ford kicks out at 2. Ford fights from the apron and nails an enziguri. Ford with another big kick from the apron. Ford goes to the top and flies with a big crossbody. Ford with clotheslines now as fans cheer him on. Ford ducks a clothesline and hits a flying clothesline. Ford with a backdrop and a kip up for a big pop. Ford screams out, flexes, then nails a standing flip for a 2 count. They get up and trade big strikes now. Elias with the jumping knee, then a suplex slam for another close 2 count. Elias is frustrated now. Elias chops and delivers shoulder thrusts in the corner. Ford sends Elias to the apron, but he fights back. Elias goes to fly back in, but Ford knocks him in midair with a big right hand, sending him back to the floor. Ford runs the ring and leaps out over the ring post, taking Elias down on the floor to a big pop. Ford brings it back in and nails the top rope frog splash for the pin to win the final Elimination Chamber spot. Winner, Montez Ford. After the match, Ford stands tall and celebrates as the music hits. It's confirmed that he will join Champion Theory, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, Bronson Reed, and Johnny Gargano in the WWE United States title Elimination Chamber. Theory stands tall on top of the announce table now, raising his title in the air to taunt Ford. Rollins suddenly attacks from out of nowhere, knocking Theory off the tail to a big pop. Fans cheer as Rollins poses at ringside. Rollins runs and nails a stomp on Theory now, right in front of the announce table. Ford looks on from the ring while Rollins' music starts up and fans sing alone. Rollins struts to the back now. We see Damage Control backstage as Bayley gets ready for the main event. The steel cage is shown hanging above the ring now as we go back to commercial. Back from the break and announced for next week is a contract signing for Bobby Lashley vs Brock Lesnar at Elimination Chamber, a face-off with the Women's Elimination Chamber participants, Seth Rollins on Miz TV, and The Miz vs Rick Boogs 2. Steel cage match, Becky Lynch vs Bayley. We go back to the ring for tonight's main event as the steel cage is lowered around the ring. The music hits and out first comes Damage Control, Bayley with WWE Women's Tag Team Champions Dakota Kai and Io Sky. Becky Lynch is out next to a big pop. We go to commercial as Lynch makes her entrance to the cage. Back from the break and the bell hits as the cage door is locked, and Damage Control looks on from ringside. Bayley and Lynch have words in the middle of the ring. Bayley shoves Lynch and now they go at it. Lynch unloads with strikes but Bayley kicks the knee out. Bayley goes to the cage door but Lynch drops her and talks some trash. Lynch slams Bayley headfirst into the cage twice. They tangle and Bayley tosses Lynch through the ropes to the steel. Bayley stomps away and grinds Lynch into the steel. Bayley with a quick 1 count. Bayley climbs the cage to booze but Lynch dropkicks the cage to knock Bayley off. Lynch throws Bayley into the steel a few times. Lynch with another big dropkick to send Bayley into the steel, and another. Lynch manhandles Bayley on the mat, grinding her into the steel, warning her to never talk about her husband again. Lynch keeps control as fans chant her name now. Lynch climbs up but Bayley cuts her off. Lynch fights back and keeps climbing. Bayley climbs to the top rope with Lynch now, but Lynch slams her head into the steel. Bayley sends Lynch to the mount. Bayley flies with a big elbow drop for a close 2 count. We go to commercial with Lynch down in the middle of the ring. Back from the break and Bayley avoids the disarm her. They end up colliding and both go down. We see how Bayley hit a big sunset bomb into the turnbuckles during the commercial. They get up and trade big strikes in the middle of the ring now. Bayley runs into a springboard kick. Bayley tries to climb up but Lynch grabs her legs and slams her into the steel. Lynch climbs up to join Bayley now, and knocks her off to the top rope, leaving her straddling it. Lynch then flies and sends Bayley to the mat for a close 2 count. Kai and Sky look on as fans chant for Lynch. Bayley blocks the manhandle slam with a Bayley to belly suplex for a close 2 count. Bayley climbs the cage again as fans boo. Lynch pulls her back down by her legs, then catapults her into the steel. Lynch with a leg drop but Bayley pulls her into a knee bar. Bayley has trouble locked in the hold as Lynch crawls for the open cage door now. Bayley gets sent face first into the turnbuckles as the door is closed. Lynch rolls her up for 2. More back and forth now. Lynch climbs up to the top and Bayley joins her. Lynch shoves Bayley to the mat. Lynch looks to climb but Bayley just meets her up top again. Bayley wrestles up top and brings Lynch to the mat with a super Bayley to belly suplex. Lynch still kicks out. Lynch goes back down and now Bayley climbs to the top of the cage. Lynch rushes up to cut her off. They're sitting on top of the cage now, trading punches. Lynch is knocked off but she hangs on by one arm. Lynch climbs back to the top and uses the cage to apply a disarm her. Bayley falls to the mat. Lynch is ready to climb down for the win now but Sky climbs up to meet her. Lynch fights back but Sky kicks her from the top of the cage to the mat. Kai slides a crutch in the ring to Bayley, which she jabs Lynch in the gut with. The music hits and out comes WWE Hall of Fame Lita to a big pop. Lita runs down and pulls Sky off the cage wall, slamming her to the floor. Lita grabs the crutch from Chi, then decks Sky with it. Lita with the twist of fate to Sky on the floor. Bayley is shocked as the injured Kai pleads from on the ground. The cage door is opened as Bayley goes for it but Lita slams it in her face, knocking her back. Lynch takes advantage and follows up with the manhandle slam for the pin to win. Winner, Becky Lynch. After the match, the music hits as Lynch stands tall to celebrate. Lita rushes into the cage and Lynch hugs her, then raises her arm. Raw abruptly goes off the air with Lynch and Lita celebrating.